Life doesn't change because of what you wish for. It changes because of what you believe deep inside. Your belief is the seed that shapes your destiny, and everything you are becoming begins right here in your mind. You don't become what you want. You become what you believe. That single line carries more weight than most people realize, because your entire life is a reflection of what you've chosen to accept as truth about yourself. Wishing, wanting, even dreaming, those are all fragile without the foundation of belief. A person can want success, they can want love, they can want growth, but if deep down they don't truly believe they're capable, then that want never matures into reality. Wanting is surface level. Believing is rooted in the core of who you are. When you believe in something, it shapes the way you think, it directs the way you act, and it influences the way you show up in the world. Belief is like soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. Doubt or faith, fear or courage, weakness or strength. Think about it. Every major accomplishment in history, every breakthrough, every innovation, every personal victory, all began not with a want, but with belief. Someone believed it was possible before anyone else could see it. They held that belief through obstacles, through doubt, through failure, and because of that, what was once invisible became real. On the other hand, there are countless people who wanted something badly, but never moved forward, because they couldn't align their actions with belief. They wanted success but believed they weren't worthy. They wanted happiness but believed they didn't deserve it. And life always matched that belief. You will never rise higher than your faith in yourself, because belief sets the ceiling of your life. The truth is, the human mind is wired to look for evidence of what it already believes. If you believe you're not good enough, you'll start noticing every flaw, every rejection, every shortcoming, and you'll build your identity around that. If you believe you're destined for more, your mind will start noticing opportunities, connections, and possibilities, and you'll step into situations with a different energy. That's why two people can face the same challenge and walk away with completely different outcomes. One is defeated, the other is driven. The difference wasn't the challenge, it was the belief behind it. Belief creates resilience. When you want something but don't truly believe it's possible, the first setback will crush you. You'll give up because doubt was stronger than desire. But when you believe, setbacks don't define you. Failure doesn't end you. It becomes part of the process, a stepping stone instead of a wall. Belief whispers, get up again. When everything around you screams, stay down. Belief keeps you moving when logic tells you to quit. That's why belief is more powerful than talent, more powerful than resources, more powerful than luck. Talent without belief collapses under pressure. Resources without belief are wasted. But belief without talent or resources can still open doors. Because belief forces you to keep going until you grow the talent and attract the resources. The most dangerous thing in life isn't failure, it's disbelief. It's waking up every day with a vision in your heart, but a voice in your head telling you it can't be done. That voice becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You act small, you play safe, you settle because deep down you've already decided your limit. But the moment you shift your belief, everything changes. You walk differently, you talk differently, you carry yourself with a quiet strength, and people notice. Opportunities find their way to you, not because the world suddenly changed, but because your belief changed your energy, your actions, and your presence. So stop clinging to want. Wanting keeps you waiting. Believing gets you moving. Believe in your worth. Believe in your calling. Believe in the vision planted in your heart. Because in the end, you don't become what you want. You become what you believe. Belief is the seed, your habits, discipline, and results are the harvest. Everything you see growing in your life today, whether it's strength or weakness, progress or stagnation, abundance or lack, is the product of a seed once planted in your mind. That seed is belief. Just as a farmer doesn't expect a harvest without planting first, you can't expect results in your life without first sowing belief deep within yourself. The soil of your mind cannot remain empty. It will always grow something. If you plant doubt, the harvest will be hesitation and fear. If you plant faith, the harvest will be confidence and progress. The type of seed always determines the type of crop. Your habits are a direct extension of what you believe. If you believe you are disciplined, you'll show up consistently. If you believe you're weak, you'll sabotage yourself at every turn. Belief comes first because no one sustains habits that their mind hasn't already accepted as possible. Think about it. If someone deep down believes they're destined to fail, they'll never stick with discipline long enough to see results. They might try, but their inner script will eventually pull them back to where they believe they belong. But when belief is strong, it becomes the root system that supports the habits necessary for growth. Habits then become visible proof of the invisible seed. Discipline is watered belief. It is what happens when you take faith and repeat it daily through action. Many people look at discipline as something external, like sheer willpower, But discipline is really belief practiced consistently. You wake up early because you believe the effort matters. You eat healthy because you believe your body deserves respect. You push through resistance because you believe the future is worth the struggle. Without that belief, discipline fades, because discipline without purpose always feels like punishment. But discipline rooted in belief feels like alignment. Results, the harvest that everyone desires, never arrive by chance. They are not random blessings that fall from the sky. They are the inevitable consequence of belief expressed through habits and sustained by discipline. Just like a farmer doesn't panic when he doesn't see sprouts the next day, you must trust the process of growth. Results take time because harvest takes time. A seed doesn't become fruit overnight, and neither does belief become success instantly. But with consistent watering, through your habits and your daily disciplines, the harvest eventually appears. The danger is that some people try to skip the seed and rush to the harvest. They want results without belief. They want success without foundation. But what happens when you put pressure on a structure with no roots? It collapses. That's why some achieve quick success and then lose it just as fast. The seed was never planted. The roots were never deep. They had temporary habits, forced discipline, but no belief to sustain it. Real transformation is only possible when belief is firmly planted first. So you must ask yourself, what seeds you're planting in your mind today? Are you planting seeds of limitation, telling yourself you can't, you're not ready, you don't have what it takes? Because if those are the seeds, don't be surprised when your harvest is procrastination, doubt, and missed opportunities. Or are you planting seeds of courage, faith, and possibility? Because those seeds grow into resilience, consistency, and success. Belief is not just positive thinking. It is the quiet conviction that shapes your choices every single day. It's knowing that what you do today matters for what you'll see tomorrow. If you want a different harvest, you must plant a different seed. If you want better results, you must nurture belief and express it through your habits and discipline. Life will always give you a harvest that reflects what you've planted. So choose your seeds wisely. Nurture them daily and remember, the harvest is guaranteed when the seed is belief. Belief without action is fantasy. Belief with action is power. Many people convince themselves that because they think positively or dream big, change will automatically follow. They believe that sitting in silence, imagining a better future, is enough to bring it into existence. But belief alone, without the commitment to act, is nothing more than wishful thinking. A dream that never steps into reality remains a fantasy. You can believe you are destined for greatness, you can repeat affirmations, you can visualize success every single morning. But if your belief never translates into action, it produces no results. The world doesn't reward what you think is possible, it rewards what you actually do with what you believe. Action is what separates dreamers from achievers. Belief is the spark, but action is the fuel that keeps the fire burning. Without action, belief is like having seeds but never planting them. You may hold in your hand the potential for an entire harvest, but if those seeds remain untouched, they rot away. Likewise, belief that never takes form through behavior decays into regret and frustration. You might convince yourself that you were capable all along, but capability without effort is wasted potential. True power is born when you take belief and put it to work in the real world. Action also gives belief substance. When you act on what you believe, you start collecting evidence that your belief is valid. If you believe you can get in shape, the first workout validates that belief. If you believe you can grow your business, the first phone call or decision validates that belief. Every small action becomes proof that the seed you planted was real. Without action, belief is always vulnerable to doubt because nothing in your environment confirms it. But once action is taken, belief becomes reinforced. The more you act, the stronger your belief grows, and the stronger your belief grows, the more powerful your actions become. It becomes a cycle of growth. On the other hand, belief without action creates a cycle of disillusionment. You imagine great things, but you never take steps toward them. Over time, you begin to resent yourself. You start to feel the weight of dreams unfulfilled, which turns belief into bitterness. You tell yourself it was impossible all along, when in reality it wasn't belief that failed. It was the absence of action. Countless people live their lives stuck in this pattern, mistaking mental comfort for progress, never realizing that the gap between belief and achievement is bridged only by doing. Power comes from the combination. Belief gives you direction, action gives you momentum. Belief tells you what's possible, action shows you how far you can go. When you put the two together, you become unstoppable. Think of every great achievement in history. It started with belief, but it was achieved through relentless action. The inventors, the leaders, the athletes, the pioneers, they all had belief, but what made them powerful was their willingness to act on it, fail, adjust, and keep moving forward. This is why belief with action is power. It changes your life not in theory but in reality. You may not see results immediately, but action makes progress inevitable. Every step you take proves that belief is more than just a thought, it's a force. When you live this way, you stop being a dreamer and become a creator. You stop fantasizing and start manifesting. You stop hoping and start building. Remember this truth: belief without action will keep you trapped in a world of what-ifs. Belief with action, however, will turn those what-ifs into reality. Your faith must move your feet. Your vision must command your hands. Your conviction must drive your choices. Because only then does belief transform into power. The kind of power that reshapes not only your destiny, but the world around you. Your environment shapes your belief. Protect your circle. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the energy you allow into your space. All of these factors influence what you believe about yourself and what you think is possible for your future. Human beings are shaped not only by their inner voice but also by the voices around them. If your environment constantly feeds you negativity, doubt, and fear, eventually those seeds will take root in your mind, no matter how strong you think your belief is. On the other hand, when you place yourself in an environment that encourages growth, ambition, and discipline, you begin to internalize those qualities and carry them into your own actions. Think about it: a single seed can only grow if planted in fertile soil. If you take the healthiest seed and drop it in dry, barren land, it will wither before it ever gets the chance to rise. Your belief works the same way. You might have all the faith and determination in the world, but if your environment constantly poisons your growth, your potential will shrink. This is why protecting your circle is not about being selfish. It's about survival. Who you allow near you can either water your vision or drain it. They can either inspire you to keep going or convince you to quit. Negative environments are subtle but dangerous. They can look like a friend who always doubts your dreams, a family member who constantly criticizes, or a group of peers who settle for mediocrity and pull you to do the same. Over time, you start adopting their belief system. You stop aiming higher because you're told it's unrealistic. You stop working harder because nobody else is doing it. Slowly, your fire dims, not because you lost belief, but because your environment suffocated it. That's why protecting your circle is non-negotiable. If you don't guard your environment, it will rewrite your beliefs without your permission. On the other side, when you intentionally build a strong circle, your life shifts in extraordinary ways. Surrounding yourself with people who believe in growth makes you believe more in yourself. Being in a room full of disciplined people makes you disciplined without even realizing it. Being around visionaries makes you see possibilities you never saw before. Your circle becomes a mirror, reflecting not just where you are but where you can go. That's why successful people emphasize community. They know that no matter how strong your belief is, it needs reinforcement from the outside. Protecting your circle doesn't mean cutting everyone off or living in isolation. It means setting boundaries and being intentional. Not every voice deserves access to your mind. Not every person deserves space in your inner world. You must learn to identify who adds and who subtracts, who builds and who destroys, who lifts and who drains. And once you identify them, you must act. Create distance from those who constantly bring negativity, and draw closer to those who challenge you to rise higher. This is not about arrogance. It is about alignment. You cannot afford to let your belief be shaped by people who don't believe in themselves. Over time, your environment begins to hardwire your habits. If your circle values health, you will naturally adopt healthier routines. If your circle values financial growth, you'll naturally start managing your money better. If your circle values wisdom, you'll find yourself thinking deeper and making wiser choices. Belief is not just born inside of you, it's reinforced by what surrounds you daily. So guard your circle fiercely. Protect your environment like it's the soil for your dreams, because it is. Choose people who water your vision, not those who drain it. Place yourself in spaces where growth is normal, not rare. Seek out communities where discipline, ambition, and positivity are the standard. When you do this, you'll find your belief expanding, your confidence solidifying, and your actions multiplying. Your environment either strengthens your belief or sabotages it. If you want to live a powerful life, be ruthless about who and what you allow around you. Protect your circle because your future depends on it. Belief is the bridge between where you are and where you're meant to be. Every great achievement, every dream fulfilled, every vision brought to life started first with belief. Before the action, before the results, before the recognition, there was belief, an unseen conviction that something greater was possible. Life constantly presents you with two roads, the one that reflects your current reality and the one that represents your future potential. Belief is what carries you across from one to the other. Without it, you stay stuck where you are, but with it, you open doors to possibilities you may have never imagined. Think about how bridges work. They don't eliminate the distance between 2 points, but they provide a way to cross over. Belief works exactly the same. The challenges, the obstacles, the doubts, they don't disappear just because you believe. But belief gives you the courage and strength to walk through them, to keep moving when logic tells you to quit. It empowers you to see beyond your current circumstances and envision a better outcome. Where you are today is only temporary, but belief is the tool that allows you to step into where you're meant to be. The truth is, life will always test your belief. Circumstances will make you doubt yourself, failures will whisper that you're not enough, and people around you may project their limitations onto your path. In those moments, belief is not just an idea, it becomes an anchor. It grounds you in the certainty that your current struggles are not your final destination. It tells you that the delay is not denial, that setbacks are not endings, but setups for growth. Without that bridge of belief, you look at your challenges and think, this is all I'll ever be. But with belief, you'll look at them and say, this is only where I'm passing through. Belief is not blind optimism. It's not pretending that everything is perfect. It's choosing to see beyond imperfection. It's holding on to the vision of where you're meant to be, even when the present looks nothing like it. Belief whispers, keep moving, when everything in you wants to stop. Belief says, there's more ahead, when all you see is difficulty. It gives you the courage to act, because no bridge can carry you unless you take steps across it. Belief doesn't work if you stand still. It requires action, decisions, sacrifices, consistency that align with the future you see for yourself. Many people get stuck because they confuse their current position with their permanent reality. They allow temporary circumstances to dictate their entire belief system. But belief reminds you that where you are today is just a chapter, not the whole story. You may be broke now, but you don't have to stay broke. You may be overlooked now, but you don't have to stay invisible. You may be struggling now, but you don't have to remain in struggle. The bridge of belief says, keep walking. This is not the end. And as you keep walking, belief begins to transform you. It builds resilience, discipline, and confidence. Each step forward across that bridge strengthens your identity. You start to see yourself not as someone limited by circumstance, but as someone destined for more. You stop letting fear control you and start letting faith guide you. Every step you take across the bridge expands your possibilities and reshapes your reality. At its core, belief is power. It's the invisible force that separates those who stay where they are from those who reach where they're meant to be. If you want to create a new life, build new opportunities, or step into your purpose, you must guard and grow your belief. Because as long as you hold on to it, you'll always have a bridge strong enough to carry you to your destiny. You will never rise above the story you tell yourself. Change your belief, change your life. The mind is the foundation of every action, every choice, and every result in your life. What you repeatedly tell yourself becomes the script you live by. If the story in your head says you're not capable, you'll shrink from opportunities. If it says you're unlucky, you'll never see doors when they open. If it says you're too broken, too late, or too unworthy, you'll keep reliving the same painful cycles. But when you change that inner story, when you shift the belief from limitation to possibility, your entire life begins to move in a new direction. The human mind is powerful, but it can also be deceptive. It doesn't distinguish between fact and repetition. It simply believes what it hears most often. If your self-talk is filled with doubt and defeat, your life will reflect that. Every missed opportunity, every hesitation, every excuse will be proof of the story you've been telling yourself. On the other hand, if your self-talk is rooted in faith, courage, and resilience, your life will start aligning with that belief. What you focus on expands, and the story you choose to believe shapes your destiny. Think of it this way: you are both the author and the character in your life's book. Too often, people write themselves into chapters of failure and never move past them. They keep replaying old memories of mistakes, betrayals, or missed chances, and that narrative becomes their identity. But you are not your past. You are the one holding the pen. The story you tell yourself about what you can do, who you can become, and how far you can go will either trap you in limitation or set you free into growth. If you want a new life, you must write a new story. Changing your belief doesn't mean denying reality. It means refusing to be chained by it. Yes, you may have failed before, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. Yes, you may have been overlooked, but that doesn't mean you're invisible. Yes, you may be struggling, but that doesn't mean you'll always be stuck. The story you tell yourself should not reflect only where you are. It should declare where you're headed. Instead of saying, I'm not enough, you tell yourself, I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'm capable. Instead of saying, I can't, you declare, I will find a way. That shift in language creates a shift in energy, and over time, that energy builds momentum toward transformation. Many people underestimate the power of self-belief. They think success is only about talent, money, or luck. But the truth is, countless talented and gifted individuals never rise because their inner story keeps them chained to doubt. Meanwhile, people with fewer resources often achieve incredible things simply because they refuse to let their inner dialogue limit them. They told themselves a different story, a story of resilience, possibility, and faith, and then lived into it. When you change your story, you change how you act. Belief fuels behavior. A person who believes they're unworthy won't even apply for opportunities. But a person who believes they deserve better will keep knocking until a door opens. A person who believes they're too late in life will stop trying. But someone who believes it's never too late will reinvent themselves at any age. The difference is not ability, it's belief. The story in your head is the ceiling of your life. Raise that ceiling, and you raise your future. The story you tell yourself is the seed of your destiny. If you want to rise higher, tell yourself a story that lifts you higher. Feed your mind with words of strength, courage, and possibility until your beliefs align with the life you desire. You cannot rewrite the past, but you can rewrite the narrative you choose to carry forward. And when you do, everything shifts. Change your belief, and you will change your life. Your life will never move beyond the story you've chosen to believe. Every limitation, every hesitation, and every fear lives in that story, and so does every possibility, every breakthrough, and every victory. You are not bound by the past unless you keep telling yourself the same old tale. You are not limited by your circumstances unless you keep repeating the narrative that you're powerless to change them. The truth is, you hold the pen. You can either keep writing chapters of doubt and defeat, or you can write new chapters of courage, growth, and resilience. The story you feed your mind becomes the reality you walk into. Change the way you speak to yourself, and you change the way you show up in the world. Believe in the possibility of a greater life, and you'll start living in alignment with it. So stop repeating the story that keeps you small. Start declaring the one that lifts you higher. When you change your belief, you change your future. And when you change your story, you change your life.